Mic check 1 2 1 2. As you can see, it is clearly brick outside. It's super cold. I don't know where you guys are at, but it is a cold morning, but that is not gonna stop us from heading to the gym. Let's go. Mic check 1 2. Welcome back to another video. It's the Y2K Collector. I am back with you here on a Saturday. Although it is 12 below brick outside, it's still a beautiful day. The sun is out, and you can definitely get some things done. Just make sure you bundle up, get some gloves. If you've got the kiddos with you, make sure they're bundled up, because on the East Coast, actually it feels like all across the country, it is super cold, but still a beautiful day to go outside. If you are thinking about doing some game hunting, stores are probably going to be pretty empty. So today would be a good day to probably try and see what deals you can snag. I may venture back out. Went ahead and hit the gym up this morning. Let you know a little bit more about that here, because I still am on my journey to dropping 20 pounds. I started this a couple weeks ago and I'm down to 212. It's crazy. So that's about 12 pounds in the past couple of weeks. No, I'm not starving myself. In fact, I just had some Chick-fil-A. Feel bad about that. But no, it's just been a steady regimen of cutting out sugar, hitting up the gym, watching what I eat, just being mindful. There's so many things that we eat that has so much sugar in it. Just got to be careful with that. But all that aside, definitely have been out and about this week, just trying to see what I can find out there in the wild. Not much going on out there. Had a couple pre-orders come in. They came in this week. Got some stuff from Strictly Limited. Got some stuff from Limited Run. But I am very, very, very excited, because Limited Run just announced a game that I think a lot of people are actually going to want. This Limited Run release might put Limited Run back on the map. I feel like Limited Run has kind of fallen off. They were hot. I remember there was a point a couple years ago where if Limited Run dropped a game, I mean, within hours it was sold out. It almost didn't matter what it was. There was a point where Limited Run was selling out everything. But towards the middle of last year, actually maybe the beginning of last year, you just started to see some of these Limited Run releases just sit on the website. I mean, they weren't selling out. It seemed like a lot of the interest was, had just evaporated. And when it came to the special editions, good night. I don't think anyone was picking up those special editions. But Limited Run has released something recently. They just announced, actually just yesterday, they just opened up pre-orders for their re-release of Rocket Knight Adventures, and I am a huge fan of that game. Rocket Knight brings me an incredible amount of nostalgia, just because I remember back in '93 watching my brother try to beat this game over and over and over again, and when he wasn't looking, that was when I snuck on the Sega and decided to try my hand with Rocket Knight Adventures. So that's a really, really great game, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we go through today's video, because along with their release, they're actually releasing some really, really great merch along with it. And Limited Run, a lot of the extras that they offer with some of their special edition packages, a lot of times for me, there's no real value in it. But with this release, there are a few things that I've definitely got my eyes open for. One of them is they do have t-shirts that are coming with this release. I think one has like a screenshot of, I don't know if that's a screenshot of gameplay or what, but I know one of the other t-shirts that they're releasing, it's a black t-shirt, and it basically has the Rocket Knight, kind of title screen almost on the cover of the shirt. So I gotta get that. Just the colors on that are amazing. I could see myself styling that so many ways, but definitely gonna get the Rocket Knight t-shirt, because that's just classic. Another thing that I saw that's coming along with the game is they actually have a Rocket Knight plushie. I'm not much of a plushie guy. I do have a daughter, so whenever I get plushies or anything like that, they go straight to her room. She has like a whole army of stuffed animals and plushies. I actually had the Shovel Knight plushie that came with like their digital release. She has that in her room. So when I get the Rocket Knight plushie, that'll definitely be going in her room as well. So definitely want to get the t-shirt. Also want to get the plushie. Another thing that I want to get is they actually have a cassette with the soundtrack of the game, and that is just incredibly nostalgic. I know some of the younger viewers, if you're younger, maybe if you were born in the 2000s, you probably don't remember a device called a Walkman. But a Walkman was basically like a portable cassette player that we used to roll around with back when we used to listen to cassette tapes. And this Rocket Knight release is going to be coming with a cassette tape soundtrack. So I'm super psyched about that. I'm going to have to get a Walkman again. Like I don't have a Walkman anymore, but I'm going to have to get a Walkman just to be able to play the cassette tape. So definitely want to get my hands on that. And I think that's about it when it comes to the merch. They do have like a skate deck. I'm not much of a skater, but maybe I'll get it. Just a lot of the memorabilia for me is just super nostalgic. The cassette tape, the plushie, the t-shirts, it just, everything about it just reeks early 90s. I'm all about that early 90s feel. And it's really just a great game to get, in my opinion, on the Switch. I know I've been calming down with the Nintendo Switch pickups because it just seems like things are changing when it comes to the Switch, as far as interest and things like that go. But definitely want to pick this one up.
Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, but there are signs that sales are starting to slow. At this point, there's no word on when this new console would be released or what it will be called. The Switch is the company's second most successful console behind the Nintendo DS.
Did you know what a Switch was before we brought the store to the company?
Should I tell the truth? No.
So there's been a lot of chitter chatter around the Nintendo Switch. You just saw a clip that I played for you there of them reporting about Nintendo feeling some of the pressure to release a new system due to the slowing down of Switch sales. Now, I don't think that the slowing of sales is exclusive to the Switch. I recently put out a little on-the-fly video talking about would you make more money being a reseller or working at McDonald's? And I think in this environment, and I think this is the environment we're going to be in for the next few years, where reselling is not going to be profitable. I think the best thing that you can do if you have an abundance of games, an abundance of video games that you're no longer playing or using that much, the best thing you can do is take them to your local game store and see if your local game store will either, trade you for games that you actually, are interested in, or maybe games that you never, maybe you didn't want to pay for, you couldn't afford. You can trade them in that way. I know that that's what I've done. I had a lot of Switch games that I knew I wasn't going to be playing right away. And if I did want to get the experience, thankfully, because they are Switch games, I can go ahead and easily download them and play them. So what I did was, luckily, I have a buyer near me. They do cash. They also do store credit. And so what I've done is I've definitely taken the cash when I can and when it's good. But then there are times where I'll take up a bulk of games in, Switch games, and I've traded them in for some pretty good stuff. I mean, I've traded Switch games for a Neo Geo AES. I've traded Switch games for a Sega CD. I've traded Switch games for a complete in box brand new GameCube. There's all types of things that all types of deals that you can make. It just depends on your area, what your local game stores are willing to do. But I mean, value is value, cash is cash. And this is why I say, acting like video games don't have value, and that acting like it's wrong to use that value or exploit that value in any way is just, I don't know, it's just not realistic, because it's all a part of the game. No pun intended, but seriously, it's all a part of the game of collecting, buying, selling, right? But if you're strictly dedicated to reselling video games, just trying to do this to make a profit, my suggestion, go to Starbucks, fill out an application. You're going to do way better in life just working a regular 9-to-5 for a lot of reasons. When you're reselling, you don't have any money right away because you're using all of your initial funds to acquire inventory. No benefits as a reseller, no health insurance, no other kinds of benefits, no social security, none of that, right? Reselling is something that you should do on the side to help you acquire more video games. That's my thought process, or just acquire more of whatever it is you're selling. So if you're reselling sneakers, that should be a great hustle for you to just get more sneakers without having to pay for them. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people are really amazing at reselling. And what I tend to see is that the folks who are the best at reselling eventually learn how to scale their business to a level where they're able to grow, have employees, and full on run a business, right? It's at this point, it's no longer a hobby. Yes, it might be a labor of love. Yeah, they might be passionate about it, but at this point, it's 85 to 90% a pure business to them. And I think I know there's a lot of controversial opinions on resellers, but when you look at folks like Chase After the Right Price, who really focuses on the business aspect of what he's doing, or even Phoenix Resale, who's now focused on more of the business aspect of what he's doing. He's no longer really running around with vans full of games. Right now, he's transitioning, or he's attempting to transition into app development, into things that are more sustainable long term, and 9 times out of 10 it's because he, like every other resale, realizes that the market is drying up. It's not as easy to flip things because most folks don't have money. So creating something like an app is much more scalable, it's much more reachable, a much easier distribution process, right? You can just point people to a link and they could just go download it and pay. Even if they pay 99 cents, I mean, if every person that followed Phoenix Resale paid $1.99 for his app, there you go. I mean, that's like that for him. That's like 3 years worth of flipping, right? Because he didn't have to drive around, he didn't have to spend any gas, he didn't have to meet anyone, he didn't have to take care of inventory and process things and meet Amazon's requirements. He didn't have to do any of that. And so I think the folks who really maximized reselling when it was hot, they're now transitioning. They've either transitioned into brick and mortar. They have a brick and mortar store where they can take advantage of foot traffic. They've got a massive online presence, whether it be via social media with things like YouTube, Instagram, or they're just kind of scaling in other ways. Like I said, they're either, buying a warehouse, they're getting into warehousing of games, or they're just going digital and doing an app thing. I think whatever it is you do, a hustle is a hustle. There's a lot of ways to hustle, but you can't hustle the same in every part of the country. It's just difficult to do certain things in certain parts of the country, and it's easier to do certain things, right? Space in certain parts of the country, like for instance New York, space is a hot commodity, any kind of space, because it's New York City. Whereas if I was somewhere in, I don't know, Nebraska, maybe renting a storage space to store video games might be a fraction of what it would cost in a place like New York or California. So you got to just keep these things in mind when you're thinking about your hobby, when you're thinking about reselling, whatever it is. Be mindful of your area, be mindful of what's available to you, and then just take advantage of that. If you live in an area where most things are cheap, take advantage of the cheap prices. If you live in an area where there's a lot of people and there's just a lot more access to more exclusive types of games and exclusive types of things, take advantage of that. I think that there are parts of the country where if you go to 10 yard sales, you might only run into Nintendo stuff. But then there are other parts of the country where you go to 10 yard sales, you might run into Neo Geo stuff, Sega stuff, PlayStation stuff. So it just all depends on where you're at. But I think overall right now, if you're looking to make money, get a job. Go out there and get a stinking job. Get a job, work, and then start your hobby, start your side hustle. Do whatever it is that you're going to do to enjoy this hobby. As for me, I am totally stoked about this whole Rocket Knight deal kicking off. Initially this weekend, my plan was to play R-Type 3, because as you know, I've been getting into my Super Nintendo Saturdays, so I've been diving into that. But once I saw that Rocket Knight was going to be released on or released by Limited Run, I was like, nah, this is going to be a Rocket Knight weekend for sure. And so I haven't hooked up my Genesis yet because it is still Super Nintendo Saturday. So what you're going to be seeing me play here is a few rounds of Super Sparkster. This is basically like the Super Nintendo version of Rocket Knight Adventures, and this version does come with the Switch release that you're going to get from Limited Run. I think on the cart that you get from Limited Run, you'll get the original Rocket Knight Adventures that came out on the Sega Genesis. Then you'll get Sparkster, which also came out on the Sega Genesis, but then you'll get Sparkster, which is the Super Nintendo version, and the Super Nintendo version is actually really sick. See, the thing about Rocket Knight that a lot of people don't realize is that it's a side-scrolling platforming action game, but then there are also parts of the game where like it's a shoot 'em up. Like in Rocket Knight Adventures Part 1, I think either the second or third level, it's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up, really, is what it is. And then in this one, the one that you're looking at now, the Sparkster on the Super Nintendo, it also has a shoot 'em up level where it's like a top-down shoot 'em up. So I really love the creativity that they had with this game. Even all the way back in the 90s, just this game is just so underrated. So underrated. It definitely needs, in terms of pixelated 2D art style platforming games, this has to be up there. Just the story, the colors, beautiful. So this is what I'm diving into tonight. Really excited to see how far I can get. This is a game that will kick my butt. I'm almost positive about it, but it's all right. I'm up for the challenge. But that does it for me. It's been an incredible week. Dropped another couple pounds. I'm hitting a point of resistance with my weight loss. I think I'm getting to that point where I'm gonna have to really concentrate and really hit the gym more and be more focused on this next phase. But I'll share more of that with you probably in the next video. But for me this week, I'm just psyched out about Rocket Knight Adventures. It kind of just took over my whole video here. So I just wanted to share some of those thoughts with you. Let you know what I'm going to be playing, and I may drop another video tomorrow, one a little bit longer, where I'll be going through and responding to some comments. So that ought to be a fun time. If you were wondering why I don't respond to comments like in the actual comment section, I have a video on that. It's about 2 videos back. You can definitely watch that. But I am going to be putting out a video tomorrow where I do respond to some comments. So that will be a fun time. Be on the lookout for that. But that does it for me. Like I said, it's brick out there, guys. It's cold. Yeah, definitely bundle up. Make sure you stay warm, stay safe, and have fun. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.